Welcome back to the Who Busters. I'm joined with the usual guests, Will and Sam. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
How are we all?
Good. I don't know why I went full monotone there, but
I know. I was like,
was lovely.
it was either a radio presenter or a teacher. When you were
Yeah.
like, hello, everybody. I'm like, do I have to say hello, Mr. Pro?
welcome back. Thank you guys very, very much for the nice reception we had on episode 1. It was huge. We've done it. It's official, boys.
We're in.
We're being greenlit for more episodes.
Yeah.
But-
We've been picked up by YouTube for at least one more. We have to see how this one goes.
Amazing.
So today we will be talking about the Whittaker Era and how Doctor Who has changed throughout the years getting to this point, which is quite frankly very interesting and too juicy to talk about. But first, Sam, our quizmaster, has prepared us a little something.
I thought I'd use a Sonic as a mic just to seem official. But yes, we've got some true or false questions today, fellas.
Oh yeah.
They're not specifically, they're more modern Who.
Okay.
They're just a mix. Don't quote me on these because some I'm like, yeah, sure, they're true. Okay, so here we go, boys. True or false? Number 1. The Doctor's clothing will change colour schemes depending on where he is in time. Now, this is more of a modern era thing, but would you say that is true or false?
Yes, true.
So Will's going true, Oscar? Or Crispy?
I swear David Tennant changed his tie or something when he went in the past, in the future.
I think Crispy's onto something.
I'm gonna go with Will here and say true.
Say true? Well, you are both correct, boys. There you go. So it is very noticeable with Matt Smith especially. So he will have a blue shirt and bow tie for the past and then a red for the future. Okay, boys. So number 2, the Slitheen were created by a child who won a competition.
I see what you're trying to do there.
Yeah, I
see
see where you're going
I
with
see
this.
you, the slimy boy there. But
Say it, Will. Say it.
I'm gonna say false.
False.
But
False.
I see what you're doing. False.
And Crispy, do you agree with Will?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, fellas. I
You
tried
slimy
to
boy.
throw a spanner in the works, but yeah, unfortunately, those things were created by a fully grown person. Question 3. An asteroid found in 1984 was named after the TARDIS. True or false?
It's very specific.
Very specific. Are you?
But I'm wondering. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm just trying to I feel like Sam is giving us these half true, half false statements.
Yeah.
That make it go.
I'm wondering if this was like the Enterprise, like they named it after something else. That isn't the TARDIS.
I know
or
that
if it just is.
they named Rosa Parks, an asteroid Rosa Parks.
That's true.
After her. I don't know, but Sam seems surprised by that fact, so don't know.
I had no idea about that. I had no idea about that.
I'm just gonna go false because
I'll go true then to balance it.
Okay,
At least
well, we now have someone in the lead,
oh no.
which is William, because it is true.
Oh. Cool.
Number 4, fellas.
Yes.
We first learnt the name of the Doctor's home planet in the very first episode featuring Sarah Jane Smith.
Oh,
Good. That's a
my.
zinger.
That's an absolute
It
heater
is,
of a
because
question.
you would think that his home planet would be mentioned before she comes into the show.
The random choice of Sarah Jane's first episode, I don't know about, but I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it is true.
This is true. I could lose my lead, or I could double down on my lead.
Yeah.
It's intense, boys. It's intense.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, either way it'll even it out. So is the next one your last one?
No, there are 3 more questions to go after this one.
That's fine. It'll take us into a 3-question. I'll go false, just to see where it leads us.
Okay, well,
I'm not 100% sure.
this always happens. You are now tied again. So Crispy is correct. Question 5, fellas. So this is referring to the modern era of Doctor Who.
Okay.
The Doctor first mentions that Gallifrey has been destroyed in the episode The Unquiet Dead. Now, that was the one in Series 1 of Modern Who.
It's like the 3rd episode.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's another good...
That's another absolute heater of a question.
Then surely in the end of the world,
Yeah,
that'd be
he's
the
like,
one
he's
that
like,
he'd drop
by the way, this happened
Well,
before.
In case you didn't
I've seen
know.
this before.
So-
I'm just to cut early. I'll lock in false, and
and I'll
Okay,
go
you
false.
true.
more.
I'll go true. We'll keep
Yeah,
it
okay.
interesting. Keep it spicy.
Okay, well, we now have someone in the lead.
What?
What? So, Will,
50-50 chance. Yeah.
you are correct. It is
Oh,
false. So
I'm
he
back,
does.
baby.
He's back. So yeah, he does mention it in the episode before when they are on the space station.
Yeah, the end
Right.
of the world. Well
Yeah,
done,
Of
Will.
course.
Yes.
There it
Yeah.
is.
So question 6 is one that I'm hoping Will gets. If he doesn't, it's just going to be shameful for him.
Okay.
Karen Gillan was the
Mm.
first person to get the role of a companion after already appearing in a previous episode of Doctor Who.
I mean, false.
So Will's going false.
Yeah.
Crispy, what do you think?
No, it's false. It's absolutely false.
Yeah. it
Okay,
took me a
well,
bit.
William, I'm glad you got that right and you are still in the lead.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is false. So
It took me a
Freema
bit.
Agyeman
Yeah.
was in
Mm.
Doomsday. I think that was what the episode was called, wasn't it?
Well, she's probably dead
Yeah.
by then. Probably Army of Ghosts.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's
yeah,
probably
yeah,
dead by
yeah,
then.
yeah. Final question, fellas. So Will is in the lead by 1.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it double
Um,
points? I'm just wondering, Quizmaster,
Yeah,
if it's double
okay,
points or not.
Okay,
I'm just throwing it out there.
Throw it out there.
I may make it double points. So
Oh.
Crispy, if Crispy gets this right
Yep.
and Will gets this wrong, Crispy is the winner.
Mm.
But if
That's
you
how double
both
points. Yeah.
if you both get it right, then Will be the winner because at the moment he is in the lead. The final question for our
Yeah.
Doctor Who True and False segment is:
Very good. Yeah.
Hugh Grant was offered the role of the 9th Doctor. True or false?
That's so good. And
That's-
the fact that you've come up with these makes it even worse because it's like, well, it's not from anywhere. It's like Sam could have just pulled this out his ass.
Yeah.
You don't know.
I mean, I did my research with a lot of these. 'cause
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I was so dumb I couldn't even think of questions. I was like, I
Except for
need
that
to find
asteroid
stuff.
question, you're out. Surely
Yeah,
he was on the
well-
list of like for the 8th Doctor, but I'm just trying to work out by the time it was the New Who, did they care? Look, it's double points. I'll put it on the line. I'll go false. And
Crispy?
Okay, well,
see what happens.
strategically, I have to go true.
Oh boy, fellas, we have a winner.
Mum, it's happening. Mum, it's happening.
Darren! I got Darren!
The winner of our True and False segment is. Can I get a drum roll, please, from one of you?
Sure.
Lovely drum roll. The winner is the one and only Crispy Pro.
What?
Wait, well done, Crispy!
Well done!
Thanks,
Well
guys.
done.
Appreciate it. Alrighty, yes, thank you very much for that, Sam. But now we move on
Not a
to
problem.
the beef, the big old bit of this video. The show is all about change, and we're
It
talking
is.
about how the show has changed, mainly Modern Who. I'm assuming we might touch on a bit of classic,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
from a Modern Who perspective, how has the show changed from Christopher Eccleston all the way up to Jodie Whittaker? Is it for the better? Is it for the worse? Find out right now on Who Busters.
Yeah. So I want to pose the question: where did we all start?
I was very late in the game. My first episode was The Lodger, starring James Corden, and I had no idea. Well, I had no idea what the hell was going on. But I thought
Favorite late night host.
Yeah, I thought it looked really cool. But yeah, so I only started with Matt Smith.
I mean, that's a good one to start with.
It eases you in. It definitely
Yeah.
doesn't give you too much.
But then the Pandora
Yeah.
opened is directly after, and that was my
Next
second
year.
episode, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I love it.
It's so weird for me, and I'm sure there's going to be so many Who vids out there that are just going to be like, what? But so here on the ABC in Australia, on like after like all like the kids programs in the afternoon, they would do reruns of Doctor Who straight after. So it was like a mix mash of different ones. So the first, the first Doctor I saw was Tom Baker, the 4th episode. One night, I think it was probably for Tom Baker. They announced that the show was getting rebooted and coming back in about a month's time, and I was
pretty
like,
cool.
"What?" So then, yeah, I was there from the start of. our Ninth Doctor all the way up until the present day. So it's been a very interesting ride. But yeah. No, it was good fun.
The full whammy. I was pretty similar to you, Sam. Like I was watching the reruns as a kid on ABC, but I must have not been watching the specific night they announced the relaunch, because I didn't know, and then the what do you call them, reruns stopped happening, and I was like, well, I guess that show doesn't exist anymore. And then one night, assumedly Christmas, we were sitting watching the TV and flicking through what was on, and there was just a dude in a dressing gown, like over the top of people, and I was like, the hell is that? And then it went into the Doctor Who theme. I was like, wait.
Hold on a second.
Whoa!
What?
It's unreal. Well, look at all of us. It's such a diverse range of starting points. We literally have Eccleston, Baker, but Eccleston, Tennant, and Smith here. Also, just a little fun fact. I was going to make a separate video on it, but I don't think I will. But in 2 days' time, I will be joining you guys because I will have been watching Doctor Who for over a decade. And that's I'll be in the over a decade club for Who fans. So how has it been going through all of it, Sam, up until now? Like, how do you feel towards the? I'm just gonna get straight to it. But how do you feel towards the show compared to when you were watching those reruns to now?
Well, because it was really funny, because like they would always play the title sequence before the episode, and the title sequence would like freak me out, and I was like, nah, this is a scary show, we aren't going to watch this, we're turning it off and we're going to go and eat some dinner. But then I sat through it and I was like, oh damn, this is actually pretty good. And it was just like this insane guy in a massive scarf going through time and space with these terribly made monsters. And it was like, as a kid, it's just like, it's the madness from your own head on a screen. And then when, like, obviously the Eccleston era started, he just looked very good. It looked a lot better. I started to appreciate the show for other things, like the emotional aspect. So like what this character had been through and what the companions being with him go through.
Would you say you're the same with that, Will, in that regard?
Yeah, very, very similar. It's like, I think the funniest thing is when the Matt Smith era was, it's the moment I remembered falling in love with Doctor Who.
Right, yeah.
Like, I think that's the biggest thing about, like, in the whole journey of it, from watching it as a kid, it was kind of just in the same category as a lot of the shows I was watching, but there was some spark that reignited. It pushed me towards wanting to make stuff like that as I did.
Yeah,
no,
100%.
Into like what I wanted to do. Doctor Who does that. So the character of the Doctor would make people fall in love with science and history, but on the other side, it's like just wanting to create a show like that. A lot of that passion poured out. So it's always been a vehicle for that for me.
It's like, without getting like too cheesy or whatever, but it has had an obvious impact on us. Like the amount of Doctor Who merch I've seen in both of your rooms is disgraceful. True. But it has genuinely like inspired us. You know, like Will and I like have made way too much Doctor Who content. Sam's over here photoshopping the TARDIS. But you know, it's like, as you guys were saying, like it's definitely, you know, sparked our creativity, and I feel like Doctor Who is so much bigger than just a show. How old were you when you started watching? Can you figure out like an exact age?
Or maybe 7 turning 8, but I do remember being 8 years old for the most part of it.
Okay, well, can you imagine being 8 years old today and watching The Woman Who Fell to Earth? That was your first episode.
No.
No? You can't?
No.
You can't?
I know the child me would have just tapped out. And not
really?
There's something, I think the pacing of it, I think for a child, like even grown up me was struggling through it a lot. So I do think if the child me had seen that obviously it wouldn't be at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But if it had been on, I don't think that is a good zinger of a question there.
I'm just trying to think, because we're all saying like it's had this, you know, profound, you know, experience for us. But like,
what about the new kids?
What about the new kids on the block? From our point of view, the show has obviously changed, and you know, it's not necessarily firing on all bases as it was, for us as kids, because, as Sam was saying, we saw the title sequence and we're like, but now, I mean, the title sequence in all fairness right now does look pretty freaking awesome. At points, it feels like a very grown-up show, and then at some points, it's like they're doing way too much exposition when you're like, you could have done this scene without saying a word and it would have worked out better. But instead, Whittaker's like, I need something reflective, and then literally grabs the rearview mirror and, stops a laser.
Just do it.
Yeah. Just do it. And we'll be like, oh, that's what she was thinking, instead of trying to spell it out for us. Anyway, that's one personal gripe I have with Spyfall.
Yeah.
We got that out there. Where do you think the ideal spot for a child wanting to get into Doctor Who would be now? Like, where would they start? Where's the perfect starting point?
Maybe it's just because I can't help it, but I do still think Matt Smith's first episode, because it's built to be driven. It's basically a lot of Matt Smith's era is driven by a child, whether it be Matt Smith or Amy, because we get introduced to her as a child. Like, you've already got something for a young kid to kind of relate to, and then Matt Smith's era is a bit fairy tale. So I would always go back to 11th Hour.
Like, the 11th Hour is one of my all-time favorites, so I do very much agree with Will. But I feel like if you wanted them to watch like the Tennant era first, I feel like a good one would be The Runaway Bride.
Oh yeah,
really?
Just because as a kid, for me, that was my favorite episode in a very long time, just because there's so many interesting things that happen in it. So like the baubles on the tree being explosives, like even though we've seen that like already, it's just such a cool thing. But in that episode, my favorite thing was the fact that he flies the TARDIS on the highway.
That is
to try and get that for me as a kid.
That's such a good point.
Oh mate.
But yeah, I mean, like, do we want to talk about like, classic
the full scope?
Now?
It's the biggest issue that the new era had. At first, they've definitely rectified it, but it was the fact they didn't acknowledge what had come before. And in terms of the classic series and a lot of that, it's like there is a history to the show, and I think that was the reason why it was for people who were new to the show. It was great because they did have a fresh start, and that's always good. But for people that were continuing on, it was such a left turn into just like, is left the right way? Yeah, because left is the problem, right? Turn left. The message in the end is that she should have turned left, maybe. I don't know.
Let us know in the comments below which way Donna turned. If I had never seen Doctor Who before, did not know what a TARDIS was or even looked like, I feel like The Woman Who Fell to Earth probably would intrigue me, because it does look like the Netflix shows of now, and I don't know, like I think it's a pretty, like, it's a decent episode. I feel like it introduces Jodie quite well. Doctor Who has completely changed. I'm sure there were people for Christopher Eccleston's first episode that were huge fans of the classics, and then saw him come on screen, this little 45-minute bit with Mickey saying pizza. And they're like, this isn't the Doctor Who I love. So I mean, it all comes down to the individual, and I guess when you started watching the show and what the show is for you. As
a kid, one of the things that really got me engrossed in the show was that it was like a fairy tale. Like there was this and me and Will have spoken about this many times, and because he knows how much I love this. But yeah, it was like a fairy tale, and I feel like now it's not. Like, even if you go back and watch clips from Tennant, the way people talk about him is he's this mysterious god. Whereas now, I feel like everything to know about the Doctor is kind of there on the table.
But just some of the dialogue in Moffat and Russell T Davis's run was just so incredible, unreal, and you're like, wow, these characters, I genuinely feel like I could be with the Doctor as one of their companions. Like, they're so rich, and with the current run, I feel like it's a bit less accessible.
And they're still trying to peel back these layers and reveal new things about these characters, when it all just should have been done long ago, so that now we actually do care about them, but we don't, because they're still trying to do that.
And with the case of what is it? Don't Sleep? No, that was the Peter Capaldi one. The fingers in the ears one.
Can you hear me?
It was that one,
which is what we say all the time on Zoom.
All the time.
It's true.
Hello?
In the case of that, it was all this interesting character related stuff, but it felt too late, and it didn't feel like a continuation of something we already knew about their characters. especially with Yaz, it was like maybe there was vague hints, but that's such a big,
it's such
huge
a big
character beat to drop.
Yeah,
Be like,
yeah,
this has
yeah,
always
yeah.
existed. It's like, okay,
It's like,
all
okay,
right.
should I go back and rewatch now with that in mind? Like, it's
Yeah, and will it relate
totally.
to anything in the next 4 episodes of this series? No.
not
It's
really.
just
It
for
doesn't
this
really come
episode.
up. No.
The companions are supposed to be the vehicle for us when watching the show, and
Yeah.
when there is nothing for us to latch on to a character, there's nothing for us to become part of it. We still love Doctor Who, and if there's any
Yes.
We still love
opportunities
it.
that we're still
Yeah.
watching it.
We still are, and we're still doing
Yeah, of
this. All right,
course.
we're just very passionate fans, as are a lot of you in the comments. So we're just this is our comment.
And the conversation only starts here, and then it keeps going in the comments. So you can correct us.
Thank you, lads. That was a very insightful discussion. I learned a lot about your childhood, how you grew up with Doctor Who, and how I'm way too late in the game, and how in a few days I'll be joining you guys in the Decade Club, which is very, very exciting. I will send you guys a picture of me holding a cake.
I will hold you to that.
I literally will. I literally will.
Good.
I'll insert it here. If you guys have any thoughts on how Doctor Who has changed for better or for worse, please let us know in the comments below. We're going to reply and like it and just have a civil conversation. So just before we go, we have one final segment. Will is going to sell us a Doctor Who piece of merchandise in under a minute.
It's my favorite bit of every episode.
Oh,
and we've only done 2.
Oh, here it is.
Oh.
It's off. It hasn't been on the table the whole time. Is your favorite episode Unicorn and the Wasp from Series 4? Do you like wasps? Well, unfortunately, I've got nothing to do with wasps, but the unicorn is here for you. It just so happens that they don't quite look like the unicorn. It's Felicity Jones, but not as you know her. Or actually, this is probably how you know her.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I'm pretty sold. That's 2
Okay,
items.
good.
Sam,
Good.
are you buying that? Would you buy it off of Will's pitch?
I mean, 100% off that pitch alone, and the fact that I totally forgot she was even in that episode. 100%, I would buy it.
That's why you got to buy it, so that every time you wake up in the morning, if it's on a bedside table or something, you look up and you go, oh, "That's right, Felicity Jones is in Unicorn and the Wasp."
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please consider subscribing this channel. We are this close to 20,000. It's going to be huge.
Nice.
But hey, I'm not the only one in this video. See these 2 guys? They're making great content. Subscribe to each their own. They are doing so much content now. I see you just put out a video with milk. What's going on there?
Lots of milk. Lots of milk. Well, a nondescript company put out 3 different flavors of milk, and I tried them.
And also, please check out Sam's DeviantArt. He is an absolute whiz.
Thank you so much.
Go and check it out. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and stay Who Busted.
Stay Who Busted.
We said we were going to work on that, and nothing happened.
Nothing. I think that's
still
it.
the same
I think
thing.
that's it. Next week, I'm going to have a shirt that says "Stay Who Busted."
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to wear it in public,
and I'll have it on my forehead.
Oh,
I'll think about it.